Yes, sir. What's going on, good people? You can't hear it. There's no background music on. I hope it's not a distraction. Going live with this today. It's been a couple days since I've gone live. Hasn't been that many expired listings that have popped up. And so, I've just been speeding through those calls and doing it. So, this daily routine is something that I want to do to show the real kind of background, behind the scenes look at what it takes to build a listing inventory in today's shifting market. So, here's the killer though. Today, there were no new expired listings. Now, it's very, very easy to get into a scarcity mindset if you're trying to make your focus just one thing. Luckily, expired listings are not the only lead source that I focus on. Follow my channel before, you know that I also call on absentee owners. And there's a lot more absentee owners to call to in a given zip code. You guys have to excuse me. I have an instant burning. The smoke is going to get into me. So I'm going to move this somewhere here. All right. So I'm back. Uh, So today there were no new expires. So what do you do when there's no new expires? It's like some people can really freak out because you get into this routine of, all right, I know I'm gonna have at least three, five, six, however many are in your market. There's some with so many more on a daily basis. But when there aren't any new expired listings, what I would suggest you do is start doing follow up. If you're not doing follow up already, you're missing the boat. Basically, what's happening is you build up this compound effect of leads to call. Anybody who hasn't answered the phone in the last week or so, last month or so, happen to go through and do a little research and see that that property is still not listed again, call them back. Just call them back. Just create a list to call them back. Today, I only have one of those because I've been doing pretty good scheduling my follow-up calls day by day. So typically what I'll do is new expireds start around 7:45 in the morning, call through all the new expireds. For me, on average, I get about 5 to 6 new expired listings a day. That's because I narrowed down my search to a couple different areas. Because I'm in Minnesota, I focus on Minneapolis, St. Paul, focus on Twin Cities. So Minneapolis, St. Paul, my price range that I like to focus on are 200 to 700,000. And typically, I only call on single family homes. Not really calling on condos right now just because they're not that popular. But there are a couple that I've called on because I know the area and I know there's some people that want to get into those. So that dwindles down the number of expired listings, new expired listings that I actually get every day. And typically that's 5 or 6. So if I have that, it takes me about 30 minutes to dial through those, especially if I get going on a good conversation. It could take a little bit longer. That'll take me up till about 9:30. Take a break. 10 o'clock. I'm calling all the people that I wasn't able to contact the day before. So that first day, I'm going to call in the morning. I'm going to call in the evening, and the following day, I'm going to call them around 10 o'clock in the morning. Try to see if I can catch them then. If I don't catch them that second day, I'm going to start them on a different kind of campaign. I'll move them to a weekly call. Right? I'm going to write them a note, basically, saying I've been trying to reach them. Put that in the mail, and then I'll start calling them every single week for the next 3 weeks until I reach them. If I don't reach them in that next 3 weeks, that first month that they've been expired or whatever, um, then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that contact once a quarter or once every 6 months or so. I'm going to check to see if that property is relisted, especially around the times of right after the holidays in like February, March timeframe. Calling back all those old expired listings and seeing if they want to relist. But because of that, because I've been keeping up on that program for the last week, today I have one that I'm going to follow up with that I actually set this appointment to call this guy back today because when I called him last week, he was in a conference in Vegas, told me to call him back today. So we'll see if he answers. So he'll call me back around this time, 8:30. As you know, I'm recording this live. If you're watching the recording, 8:30 a.m. Um, then at 10 o'clock, I have two additional follow-up calls that I'm going to make. But all that means today is I'm going to focus more on my absentee owners. So after 10 o'clock, once that goes down, once I get through those expired listings, I'm going to start dialing through absentee owners, seeing if I can get some people added to my long-term pipeline. So those are the two lead sources, the two ways that I'm getting business these days. I would suggest you set up your follow-up system something similar to that, so that on these days where there are no uh, expired listings, you can just go in, pull up a list, and do your follow-up. Now, all my follow-up calls are scheduled on my Outlook calendar. So literally just 5 minutes ago, I got a reminder saying to call this guy, and that pops up on my calendar at 10 o'clock. Call these listings, right? So it's a literal meeting with myself in order to make sure that I get this stuff done. All right. So number one, I'm going to go in. I'm going to make this call. Once again, you will not hear the other side of the call if he answers. You'll hear my side of the call, but you'll also hear my script, and you'll kind of know what's going on based on my reactions and things like that. Um, So what I've been using now is kind of refresh my membership with My Plus Leads. A while I had gone away from My Plus Leads only because I had started door knocking the expires and I was pulling all my information from the MLS. However, now that I've gotten back to calling them, because it's a lot easier to call them and be first when you call them, and then use door knocking as a way to follow up, especially with some of the ones that haven't listed again in over a month or so, which is something that I'm going to continue to do, of course. 'Cause as you know, I call and I knock. That's what I do. Um, but this property still is not listed. It's on my calendar that he told me to give him a call. So you'll hear what my follow up script sounds like. Ring Central number, using that. Um, allows me to dial directly from my computer, allows me to shoot over a text message because I know that this is a cell phone. So if he doesn't answer, I can follow up with a message there. See, he answered last time, so we'll see. Hi, is this Robert? Oh, let me call this person back. Hi, this is Blake Wallace calling with Wallace Realty Group. You may recall that we spoke last week about your property here in Plymouth. You were in a Vegas conference last week, though, but is now a more convenient time to talk? Sitting tight. I see. Okay. I see. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I'm actually hearing that a lot now. So what, when you, if you, do you mind if I ask you just a few quick questions before I let you go? Yeah. So last time that you had your property on the market, who did you have it listed with? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. And were you satisfied with the services that they provided, or were you be looking to move on to another agent? Hmm. Yep. Yep. No. Sure. Exactly. Totally. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally understand. What were your plans if the house had sold? I know you said you didn't need to move, but did you have a place you wanted to be? I see. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Well, of course, of course. Yeah, would it be all right if I kept in contact with you here over the time period in case anything changes for you? I'd love to see if there's any way that I can offer my help as well. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, hey, listen, if I don't speak to you anytime between now and the holidays, I hope you have a good holiday season. And for sure, I'll keep in contact with you here. Yeah. Thank you very much. You have a good day. So look, that was a good follow-up call. So the first time I called, he hung up pretty quick. I was hesitant to start his first call of the day. Not necessarily jitters, but you don't talk and you don't. Usually, I kind of warm up my script a little bit more. But when I called him back, got on the line, he remembered me. What happened there was he decided. I mean, the house is about $650,000. What I'm noticing is that in these price ranges, sorry, we're getting to the time where the tree is no longer blocking the sun in front of my window. So he is in a market where he didn't need to move. They wanted to move. Their plan was to move to a new construction property. Probably got beat up a little bit there with the market because it was a contingency on getting sold. But he was able to open up, and he did say that he was happy with the other agent that he had. And like I said, I don't bash any other agents. I'm sure it was great. There is a timing factor here right now where literally in a day things just stopped moving, especially in that price range. So he was happy to let me stay in contact. Here's one thing that I do know is that there's not very many agents that follow up like me. So when they're ready to make something happen, chances are I'll be there, or at least be one of the agents that are there to at least interview for the job. We made a good connection. Told them have a good happy holiday. Don't push if they're not thinking about doing anything. There's no reason to push for the appointment. There's a good always be Joshua Smith from Beast Mode. Yeah, he does the GSD podcast. Joshua Smith said, "Be aggressive with your follow up, but don't be aggressive with people." And I love that. That's the best way to put it. That's the way that I approach things, without ever putting a phrase to it. He did it. It was be aggressive with your follow up, but don't be aggressive with people. So I'll follow up with him probably once a month, once every other month or so. Drop a market report to him every so often. Give him a call back, talk about what's going on in the market, and see whenever he's ready. But for now, they say they're sitting tight until at least after the winter, which is what a lot of people are saying right now. So listen. Appreciate y'all for watching this really quick. Just 15 minutes. That's all I had this morning to do from that type of follow up. Next follow up round is going to be around 10 o'clock. Probably won't go live with that because I'll be in the virtual boiler room with my coaching group. So if you want to be involved in that virtual boiler room or my coaching group, go ahead and reach out to me here, or DM me on Instagram or something like that. So, um, hey, appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.